Charlotte Hornets with 4 minutes left in the third. The Hornets go on a 24-1 run. And down the stretch, the Hornets just executed better. They hit 7 threes in the fourth quarter, but the Hornets only shot 36%. Only the third time in Laker history they've lost to a team shooting this poorly. It's a bad loss. It's a tough loss. The Hornets had lost 9 of 10 coming in, and it just seems like they took their foot off the gas, Rob, at the end of that third quarter. And despite LeBron's heroics, couldn't get it done.
They left the car at the airport. They didn't do anything. And you look at this team, you got a team like the Charlotte Hornets, and you have a team that's a penetrating team like the Lakers can be. I know we had no AR, and that was crucial, but the Lakers only shot 12 free throws against a poorly defensive team in the Charlotte Hornets. And for me, that was the key. The Charlotte Hornets had 8 more free throws made than the Lakers. And you look at the Lakers shot 51 threes. Are you kidding me? You don't have to shoot 51 threes versus the Charlotte. You get to the cup. You play the percentages. And to me, they didn't take this team serious. And shooting 51 threes shows that they didn't take this team serious. And they just said, you know what, we're going to come out. We're going to win. It's All-Star break. Teams usually perform badly after the All-Star break. But this is a young team. Young teams normally come out with energy.
Lakers, huge favorites, 13.5 points. So, most people said, they're going to win this game, go into Portland tomorrow, see what happens there. It was a strange game in a couple ways for me. Austin Reaves getting kicked out of the game in the third quarter. Yep. Huge turning point. Maybe it's a little bit of a learning lesson for Austin. And I understand his frustration. He gets fouled a lot.
Yeah, Rob, you look at that 4-minute mark in that third quarter. Lakers are up 13. They miss a 3. They foul for an and 1. Gets down to 8. And that's when Austin gets kicked out. And they never scored again until the 9-minute or so mark of the fourth quarter. And like you said, you and I were watching at that point, just at the shot selection, like you said, they were just kind of cruising. If it wasn't for LeBron, getting them back in it with some crazy shots, I don't know, and then the team started to play with a little bit more life, but it was just tough offensively.
It was crucial because you really hit that 3 from the corner, and that kind of broke the ice. But after that, the Hornets were hot. Bridges hit some threes. Yep. Melo hit back-to-back threes. When Luka came out, he didn't have a very good shooting out. And I think he's still trying to, chip the rust off him. But this still, to me, boiled down to effort and energy. The effort wasn't there. The energy wasn't there because when you shoot 51 threes, like I said, that shows you that you're just settling instead of playing basketball the right way. That's just getting to the cup and take advantage of the opportunities offensively.
Brez, we said this at halftime. The Hornets only scored 37 points. They were shooting 26% or something like that at halftime. But I looked and the Lakers were only up 11.
Yeah.
And they had 11 turnovers at the time. And we all just felt like that was dangerous. But if you could have come out in that third quarter, go on a run, put them away, you're not having this conversation. But you let them hang around. They go on that 24-1 run. Now they have all the confidence in the world. They hit a 3 to end that third quarter as well. That's 8 threes, basically. 7 threes at fourth, 1 at the end of the third. That's 8 threes. That's the thing. I mean, they're a bad basketball team. Not good on the road. Lost 9 of 10. But when you give them, they're just going to hoist. They're just going to shoot threes.
Sure.
And if they get hot, then anything can happen in the NBA. We've seen it time and time again.
Which they did in that second half. Much better effort for Charlotte offensively, and they're not a good team offensively, and still they beat the Lakers. So you really needed to beat these bad teams, and it did not happen. That's a disappointing part,
especially if you want to be above the line. You know how tight it is, and obviously there's 29 games left, so you can't panic. But you lose to those two teams. Obviously, Rob, you were the hottest team in the league, and then when you lose those, you kind of start to go, okay, got a tough one in Portland tomorrow night because it's on a back-to-back, and then all of a sudden, well documented, everyone's talking about the strength of schedule. Lakers have one of the toughest schedules coming up, looking at Denver on Saturday night.
Yeah, how Denver is. They kind of been owning the Lakers for a while, but you look at this game, and there was a couple of key moments in the game where guys like Finney had that turnover where you looking for Luka when you should have took the shot. I know certain times guys are the stars of the team. Take your opportunity. You've been knocking down threes. You have to do that. And now you got to build up this confidence to go on the road because think about it, you've lost 2 games in a row to 2 teams that are lottery teams.
And are okay being in the lottery.
Yeah, and they're okay, but it's a Cooper flagship right now.
And Portland just hanging around up there. This was the only game tonight, a reschedule for the Lakers and Charlotte from a month ago when the fires were happening. So Lakers had to come back a day early, as did Charlotte, and obviously it didn't look real good, Geet. Yeah, I'm a little. The offense didn't look good in that second half, and Luka still a little short on some of his shots. Made only 1 3.
1 for 9 from 3, 6 turnovers.
Yeah, and 5 fouls too. Second game in a row, he's had 5 fouls. What does that tell me? He's still working his way back into shape. Remember, he missed almost 7 weeks. Between games.
Long since his career.
That was a long stretch.
Rui was a little short, 1 for 8. LeBron was 4 for 11. And this is my whole point. It boggles my mind how coaches, not just the players, coaches, say, yo, we're not making threes. Get to the bucket. This is a Charlotte Hornets team that don't want to play defense. And you playing right into their hands. And it makes me so mad at players and coaches when they say, okay, this analytical stuff, we got to shoot threes. It's the way the game is played. No, the game is played to get buckets and play defense. And when you're not getting buckets from the long ball, you got to go inside. And you think about it. And even though LeBron went to the hole, he had that awesome dunk, should have got fouled, AR should have got fouled. Who cares? You're not making threes. Keep going to the basket because eventually you're going to get a call.
All right, guys, back to Crypto.com.
Hey, Luka. Obviously, it's your third game with this team, figuring things out. But JJ thought that the offense tonight for the group was maybe just not there for 90% of the game. What's the challenge of you guys try to figure out playing one another to the best of your ability?
Yeah, obviously, it's going to take a lot of time. Today, a lot of rustiness from my part. So, start the game with like 4 or 5 turnovers. That can't happen. So, just got to, play the basketball the right way. And
just fast forward into a late game situation. You're down 3. Your guys' ball. You and LeBron are both, incredible offensive talents. What's it like to be the guy inbounding the ball versus the guy taking the shot?
Yeah, it's both ways. He had it going, so obviously we're going to go to him. I think it go both ways. So one time it's going to be him, one time me. So I think it depends how the game is going.
Just overall, how would you assess the offensive process in the 3 games you played? Just not just yourself, but the team as a whole.
I think it was good. Obviously, like I say, I'm getting a little time just to adjust to everything. But I think it was fine today. I think we had some good opportunities to make shots, but we didn't make any shots, especially me. So, just get a little time to get used to it.
Luka, there was a couple shots you made tonight where you kind of shook your head, finally, kind of found some rhythm there. How do you balance still being yourself and being aggressive even when the shot's not falling?
Yeah, just play the way I play. We're just trying to stay aggressive. Do some other things that can help to get a win, but just stay aggressive.
Hey, Luka. Some time has passed now since the shock of the trade, and you had some time to wrap your mind around things during the All-Star break. What are you thinking now, heading forward?
Right now? Going forward.
Bron, take us inside that third. You guys had that 13-point lead combined with the ejection with Austin there. What kind of changed?
Obviously it deflated us a little bit. You lose a big piece like that. He had every right to argue the missed call. But what he said after that, I don't think it warranted him being kicked out.
What was the explanation that you got?
That he said the F-bomb too many times. But he said it in the beginning, and he left it alone, and he said it's pretty obvious. So I think Rodney thought he said it again, but he didn't say it again.
JJ talked about just the comfort and the rhythm that you had for yourself there in the fourth. How do you feel about the looks you got?
I felt pretty good. I got some good. Those last 2 was pretty good looks. The first one was obviously much better than the second one. The second one had to be rushed a little bit, but had good looks. We had good looks all night.
JJ said he's looking forward to the challenge of kind of figuring this thing out. It's different personnel, and you guys are really kind of now having to stretch together to work with it. When you come to a late game situation like you had tonight, the first time you and Luka have been in this situation, is it unspoken? How are you guys feeling it out?
You run the set that the coaches, JJ draws up, and you execute it and we executed. We just didn't make it.
You guys have generated season highs in 3-pointers the last couple games with 50 and 51. What have you liked about the shot quality and just the way that the offense, even as you guys figure things out, has been able to generate a lot of threes?
I don't know. Don't ask me a 3-point question, please. we generated. We did a good job of getting guys great looks. We had great looks tonight. We just didn't make them.